Welcome to today's Greater Life CoffeeCast. And with our focus today being the pillar of happiness, my question and invitation is twofold. One is, what did you love doing as a kid? Like what brought joy to you? And also, what did you excel at as a kid as well that you enjoyed? Where was the intersection of those two things? And the invitation is to check out the accompanying article of today's Greater Life newsletter, because what we're going to explore in this CoffeeCast around what you loved as a kid is part of a larger framework I developed many years back called True You. And it's a really powerful tool to help people connect with elements that could be considered your quote-unquote purpose in life. So if connecting to that in some way, shape or form even deeper is something that might appeal to you, then I definitely encourage you to check out the newsletter today, because it really is a perfect accompaniment to this CoffeeCast, where today we're going to dive into, in the CoffeeCast, just one element of that True You framework. And that is, what did you love doing as a kid? And so I'll share an example to kind of land this in terms of why that is such an important question to consider when we come to be adults, and in terms of this, in the context of living your purpose. So, as a kid, I had 3 younger brothers and sisters, and quite often, either for breakfast or for supper, we would ask my mum, "What's for supper?" And it was called Make Your Own. And we used to love Make Your Own, because it basically meant we had permission to make whatever we wanted within reason for supper. And usually that meant potato waffles and chick sticks, which were basically like fish fingers but made of chicken. God, I used to love those as a kid. Potato waffles and chick sticks and beans for supper. So we were like, hooray, it's Make Your Own. And we dive into the freezer and grab the potato waffles. Then for breakfast, we would make pancakes. And we had a big old Arga in my home and a big old frying pan. I used to make these big pancakes, just keep them coming. And so I was, we'd all do it, but typically it kind of fell to me to cook the pancakes. And as with anything, if you do things lots of times, it's pretty tough not to develop some kind of skill and proficiency in that thing. And this was the case for me with pancakes. And fast forward 30 odd years, 30 years? No, about 25 years. Fast forward about 25 years, and I found myself regularly entertaining and wowing my friends, and indeed my wife-to-be, with the kind of pancake brunches that I would lay on. These big kind of thicker than crepes, like Shrove pancakes is what I called them. They're kind of like English pancakes, which are obviously thicker than the galettes you get in France, but not like as thick and kind of puffy as the American ones. And so I'd put on these big pancake spreads, brunches with like cinnamon spiced apple and, chopped fruit, but then also like savoury ones like bacon and brie, or like mozzarella and tomato, like melted all together with pesto. And, my friends were like, "God, this is really good, George." And, it dawned on me how much I actually enjoyed making pancakes for everyone. And at the time, I didn't know much about flow states, but what I now know is that, for me, pancake making is a pretty much guaranteed way to induce a low-level flow state, to really bring me into the zone. And so it dawned on me that perhaps I could see if maybe I could have a pancake cafe and take my hat off to this gentleman for the rest of my life, right? I worked out that most cafes might be closed in the evening, and therefore perhaps I could run an evening cafe, which is something that my friends and I in our local town had always wanted. We weren't really big pub people, but we would have loved somewhere to hang out in the evening. And So I spoke to Chris, who owned Zeb's Cafe at the time, just down the road from me, and he had a kind of, it's like a greasy spoon, but a bit better than a greasy spoon. And he was like, "All right, George, yeah, I'll give you a go." You know, and I paid him. I think I paid him like 50 quid a night to rent the place for the evening. And here's the thing: I didn't really realise what was involved, truth be told. As has been the case with quite a lot of my business ventures, it started very well because I was full of enthusiasm, but then it kind of wore me down when I realised that essentially I was signing up for 14-hour days and I didn't really get much time to do poetry and youth work and all the other things that I loved. So here's the thing though, is that I went on to make pancakes at festivals and earn multiple thousands of pounds doing that. I've since become like the pancake chef in residence for my kids' school when they have their pancake day celebration. So all of these things are ways that I get to experience joy and a sense of purpose because I gave myself permission to reconnect in my adult life with something that I loved as a kid. And the ripples go far beyond just my own happiness. I visited my former hometown a few months back, and even then, even after 8 years of being away, people were like, "Oh, we still miss the magic pan." That was the name of my pancake cafe. We still miss the magic pan. And so, even in the 9 months that it run, very sporadically, you know, I must have done something right in bringing through my childhood love and joy into a cafe setting. So that's my question for you: is what did you love doing as a kid? And are there any things in that list that you are no longer doing and that you could dust off and bring into your life today? Because I promise you that if you give yourself permission to dive into that, your life will be richer and more joyful, and probably so will many other people's. All right. So if you've enjoyed this, definitely check out the full framework, the True You framework that I share in today's Greater Life newsletter. And you can find that either on LinkedIn, just by searching up Greater Life, or just go to Google and type in the term Greater Life, and you will see our blog there to read. All right. Lots of love. See you tomorrow.